All right, so I really did not want to make this video. I tried reasoning and doing this and that, and unfortunately, it's not going to work. I haven't gotten a response back. I did post some of this stuff on Facebook, but I wanted to bring you guys some warning of businesses not to do business with. In other words, to avoid getting stolen from or avoid just any bullshit in general. Now, a lot of times, as you guys know, I know a lot of guys are going to say in the comments, oh, well, you should have charged up front, this and that. And yes, a lot of people and most people we do. Some businesses we do give leeway on a lot of stuff. But this all started, with the whole alternator situation. I made an offer to go down and fix an alternator, but then somebody decided to give me a massive list of things to do, and we started tackling things. We ended up finding out, the truck basically needs a wire harness. So this is all about that orange truck down in Maryland, and you guys know. So I am gonna basically put my side of the story, and I can't lie about anything because then, that's defamation and whatnot. So as long as I tell the truth, I can't get sued. Nothing can happen to me. I've already spoken to lawyers about this, and this is basically the route we're going to go. If I don't see anything from it, we are going to, probably go and do a mechanics lien. I have the picture of the title and what do you call it? The VIN number for the truck. But this is where we're at, and sorry, the lighting's kind of dark. We're going to go over this first, and then we're going to go over the plans with Otis right afterwards, so you guys that are interested in that, because a lot of guys, for you guys wondering, like, doing a full-ass, like, $100,000 SEMA build, that's not going to happen. But we're going to go over this. So we went and did some work for Affordable Towing and Automotive down in Maryland. I drove down there 3 times. Mind you, every drive, it's a 4-hour round trip every single time. Now, you guys know my business. We charge for mobile stuff $95 an hour plus a $25 an hour fuel surcharge for, the hours driven and whatnot. Also, on top of that, the labor. Now, I was into that truck a lot, and I cut a massive break. Like, if I would have charged for the whole build, like, it would have been like $6,000 or some shit. So I told the guy initially, if I couldn't fix the charging issue, that I would not charge anything at all. But here's the thing. We found out why it wasn't charging. Obviously, I know it needs a wire harness. I went through, I checked the harness, I've followed all the wires, and I've realized, hey, this thing needs a wire harness. So went and tried to do one of those voltage regulators like they've always worked on other trucks. Apparently, they don't work on 6.7s. It's just one of those things. I learned something new. So I didn't charge for any of that, but I did charge for, like, all the diagnostics and stuff, fixed all the electrical on the truck, a lot of the electrical, not all of it, because there was still some things we had to do. The main goal was to get a PCM and a new wire harness. Unfortunately, a PCM's like $2,500, which he wasn't opposed to, but we couldn't guarantee that's going to fix anything. But the wire harness was the main thing. You guys saw how destroyed and whatnot that wire harness was. So I was actually going to go through and redo the wiring and actually fix the wiring correctly, because we know that it was an alternator issue, and also we were going to take away the fire hazard part of it, because you guys know how well I am with wiring. So we did fix a lot of the wiring on the truck. When you'd plug in the overhead up here, it would actually keep the truck from starting. It would actually short out, and all of the park, neutral, reverse, all that stuff, it would put squares around it, and it wouldn't start at all. Like, it literally would not crank, nothing. So we took care of that. We diagged that. We went through a bunch of things. Now I'm going to go over all the things that we did, but all said and done, I think we charged like $1,300 for literally everything. So that includes 3 trips down. Installing, we did, as a temporary fix, we installed an alternator that is internally regulated. Obviously, we know why it's not charging and it needs other stuff. So the plan was to fix it perfectly down the road in all due time. We had that all planned out. Now, I'm going to go over everything we did, because he seemed to think that all we did was put an alternator on it. So we have actually an extensive list of things that I did to that truck. So starting with, we did the crankcase filter. We did install an alternator. We diagged all the wiring and whatnot, found out, where it's needed. I fixed the temp sensor on the headlight. The wiring was damaged, so we mounted it. The horn wiring was completely destroyed and cut and all that stuff. So we went through, we fixed all the wiring for the horn. We went and installed the new alternator and, all the wiring to go with that. We installed new windshield wipers. We did the inside overhead wiring harness, because that was a clusterfuck. I had to repair a lot of that. There's like 6 wires that run up here, all the way up, and then all the way through the back. So we went through, fixed all that, made sure none of that was a shorting hazard. We went through and we fixed the door, because the door didn't open and close from the inside. Like, it was shot, so I had to go in there and fix that. I fixed all of the battery connections, cleaned all of the factory grounds on the truck. So every single ground on that truck was corroded. We went through and cleaned every single one of them. The exhaust, We went through and actually diagged that because he was wondering why there was a strap under there. We found out, hey, it needs an exhaust hanger. Here's what to order. So we were going to do that next time, but we got the exhaust from hitting the drive shaft because that's what was happening. The muffler was actually hitting the drive shaft. So that was bad. We also, we replaced the hood latch. I've remounted the cowl that was under, you guys know the front cowl. We've replaced that and did all of the wiring that was over the engine bay. We reloomed and fixed all of the wiring. Well, a lot of the wiring, not all of it. There was a couple other little odds and ends we did. I also fixed the windshield washer fluid. None of that was connected. There's a line up at the front of the truck on, over on that side, on the passenger side. So I had to hook all of that up. So basically went through and did a lot of things. I did fix a lot of the wiring on that truck as well. As you guys saw in the video, we did a pretty extensive list of things, but we also drove down there 3 times. And not only was it like, yes, the whole plan was to get it charging, but there was a lot of diag that went into it. It wasn't just diag one thing. I think I quoted him like $400 initially just to install a voltage regulator and get all that stuff working. Because mind you, it's a 4-hour drive, so I have to drive down there and back. So I cut him a little bit of deal on that. And unfortunately, day 1, we couldn't get it fixed. And I'm like, look, I'm not going to let this truck win. I will be back for a day 2. So I came back on day 2, we tried a bunch of stuff and I did a little bit more diag. Day 3 was when we really went through and did everything. So all said and done, we know why it wouldn't charge. We got it charging, so now he has an operational tow truck, and we were supposed to do a bunch more. We were going to be doing, because the truck's already deleted. Mind you, dude's down there running a deleted truck in Maryland if anybody wants to do anything with that. But we were going to be installing some parts that fixed the EGR leak because there was a leak with the cross tube, so I had to go through, do the leak on that. And there were a couple other little odds and ends, but that's not everything I did. There was 2 other things that I cannot remember. But all said and done, I was into this truck like a shitload of hours. I was probably into it, if I had to guess, with drive time down and back. So I was into it about 12 hours worth of driving, which, that's a lot of drive time. So all of that fuel, and then we were also into it all the time, that we were into it. So I gave him my bill at the end of the day. I think the bill came out to like it's $1359.93 for everything that we went through and did. Mind you, had any other shop done it, any shop would have charged the same thing. There's so many horror stories of shops and dealerships charging for things and not fixing the problem, and they still charge for it. So it's one of those, like, I cut people a break on things. If I can't fix it, the first time, we'll make a little bit of a deal on that. So I cut a lot of labor out. I cut a lot. Like, I worked on that thing. I probably had 2 full days into it and another half day. So unfortunately, I was like, look, the leftover amount for the bill, because he paid $500, so the leftover amount for the bill was like $859.93, and dude didn't like that at all. Because I told guy, I was like, look, I trust you on that. You've just paid me the $500. I'm like, I'm good. We'll be back to do the rest of the work. Just pay me then. He came back the next day, not happy with that. So the next day, he's like, look, I appreciate you came down, you did all this work and whatnot. Can I throw you $250 on Friday, which is the next day, and then $250 next Friday? And I was like, you know what? If it gets this whole situation out of the way, whatever. We'll renegotiate it. Throw me $500, $250 this week, $250 next week. Dude ignores every one of the messages after that and never does it. I have all the text messages and whatnot for proof. But basically what I'm going to do is don't do business with shady people, and I'm going to try to expose like any of the shady businesses we deal with. Unfortunately, it's a learning curve. It is what it is. I'm out $859. It is what it is, and unfortunately that money comes out of my pocket when it was already planned for the business and whatnot. I spent the fuel to go down there. I filled the tanks up and whatnot. I mean, filling the tank, that's $500 right there, to fill the aux tank and the main tank. And, not to mention all the parts and stuff, I'm out a bunch of parts when we just went a completely different route. So it's just one of those, don't do business with these guys. I do not recommend them whatsoever. They are, unfortunately shady. That's just what you get for it. You kind of learn a lesson there. You try to help people out, and unfortunately you have businesses that help people out, and then you have successful businesses that it's all about the money. So unfortunately you can't run business on, guy thought it was okay to, $250 a day to come out. It's like, that doesn't cover, like, there's no money in that. If I worked for $250 a day, I'd definitely be bankrupt at that point. So, I mean, business needs to be seeing $10,000 a month. No, like, none of that. We're hoping to bump it back up to 15 here soon. So if you guys know, if you guys have any work or you want to bring me any work, we're trying to get the revenue back up to 15,000 a month. That'll take care of paying for Otis. That'll get Otis built. That'll get this truck built, and I can reinvest back in the YouTube channel. But just one of those. We are still doing the 12-valve head gasket right now. Generally, I don't do these. I'm not doing daily vlogs right now, but I'm going to get this video up for you guys, see if it gets their attention. If they want to pay the bill, I'll delete the video. If they don't pay the bill, this video is going to have to pay for the money that they don't have. I'm going to, I'll leave the link to their, well, actually, you guys can see, I'm going to leave pictures up and whatnot. So I'm not telling anybody to go over there and leave bad reviews, but you know what? I don't give a shit at this point. You're going to play with somebody's money, because I am a very honest person, and when it comes to somebody's money, I don't screw with that. If I owe somebody money, I do whatever it takes to get them their money as quick as possible. I've owed people money. I'll pay them. If I don't think they're fair, I'm going to pay them, and I'll cut them out of my life. It's that simple. But at the end of the day, businesses are expensive. Shops are charging $150 an hour. I've gotten a couple guys, like the turbo I did the other day, I think it was a $4,500 bill. The dealership quoted $11,000 to do a turbo on that, and that's just to do a turbo. For me to mobile and come out and do it for somebody on the spot, and I did it for $4,500, that included parts and whatnot. I'm telling you, like, I'm not overly expensive. So it's just one of those. We charge $95 an hour at the shop, $25 an hour fuel surcharge for the drive, and that's basically it. So I'm going to leave it at this. Now we're going to go over Otis's plans, because you guys have been wondering. So if you guys can see Otis over there. So you guys, when I say we're going to be doing a build on Otis, it's not going to be some $100,000, SEMA truck build, this and that. We are literally just going for off-road stuff. Yes, we're going to throw a bumper on it. Yes, we're going to throw some lights on it. We got the wheels, tires. I fixed the whole front end. We fixed a bunch of the stuff on it, but we're going to try to do my style of build. It's going to be budget. We're not going over the top crazy with that shit. I just want a truck that's reliable and can do what I want it to do, because I wanted to sell Otis. And for the guys saying that truck's not worth $9 grand, they can pound sand, because I really don't give a shit about their opinions. That truck's worth $9 all day. I don't care. And I've gotten the offer for it, but unfortunately the people that are offering it want to make payments. So I don't care if I posted that truck for $7,500, it would sell the same day. I've had people offer $8 cash, and I will not take it. I won't take anything less than $9 for that truck as it sits, because unfortunately, if you want a perfect truck, you're going to spend 25 grand. It's just that simple. You are not going to find a truck with nothing wrong with it for 9 grand. You're not. It's just not going to happen. So there you go. That's what we're going to be pretty much doing with Otis. We are going to try to swap some lights out and, maybe some bumpers and stuff like that. We're not doing any lift kits or whatnot like that, but basically a truck that can do what I need it to do. It's 4-wheel drive. We're, probably do something in the back, have my mom build like some camper thing going on back there. But besides that, that's what I mean by a build. So hope you guys enjoyed. Hope I get to delete this video and they pay. If not, like I said, you got pictures if you guys want to go leave reviews and whatnot. I didn't say anything. I didn't tell you to do it, but if you do, you do. So see you guys in the next video. If you need any work done in the Carlisle or Shermansdale area, send me a message. Links, everything down below. See ya.